Good morning. Welcome to United View. It's official. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been sacked. Official word, official statement for Manchester United. If you're just joining us, if you missed everything yesterday, which I don't think any Man United fan would have missed what happened yesterday. But if you're just waking up or you're just seeing this now, he has been sacked. It is official from the club. The interesting point, we're going to get into it. The interesting thing to talk about is Michael Carrick will be taking over, which was our fear, but we knew was going to happen. But it's as will be taking over the forthcoming games, and an interim will be appointed until the end of the season. So the fact of not knowing what to do next, obviously we knew what would be in shit streak, and there's some concerning things there. But let's just read out the club statement so you guys can get a feel for what's gone on, because it wasn't a surprise. But let's just go through the facts of it. Statement on the Man United website says Manchester United announces that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has left his role as manager. Ole will always be a club legend, be a legend at Manchester United, and it is great. It is with regret that we have reached this difficult decision. While the past few weeks have been disappointing, they should not obscure all the work he has done over the past 3 years to rebuild the foundations for long-term success. Ole leaves with our sincerest thanks for his tireless efforts as manager and our very best wishes for the future. His place in the club's history will always be secure, not just for the story as a player, but as a great man and a manager who gave us many great moments. He will forever be welcome back at Old Trafford as part of the Manchester United family. The last bit, Michael Carrick will now take charge of the team for forthcoming games. Forthcoming, that means 3, 4, maybe 5. Couple, who knows? While the club looks to appoint an interim manager to the end of the season. So a lot of interesting stuff there. I mean, we'll get to the bit about, they're being nice to Ole. They've handled it in the right way. The wording was nice. Let's just get to the meat of it. Michael Carrick is going to be taking charge for the forthcoming games. So we're going to be going to Villarreal with a manager who's never even managed before, which we knew would happen, struggling. And the club are going to be seeking an interim now. The process has started for an interim manager just to the end of the season. Then there's going to have to be another interims going on for the actual manager. So they're holding out for something.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the part of the statement that really stood out to me when I saw that. I went, whoa, I was not expecting that. I was expecting Carrick to be the interim. And Carrick's almost the interim to the interim. He's just the bridge between getting the interim in. And my concern about that is that is dangerously close to where we were 3 years ago. I mean, it's the same place we were 3 years ago. And then I look at that and I think, right, so who would this interim coach be? Because, Zidane an interim coach, obviously. So that puts Zidane off the table. That's basically, well, we might go after Zidane in the summer. Ten Hag and an interim coach. So who's that interim coach going to be? They were saying last night, Laurent Blanc, and we laughed about it and joked about it with KG, didn't we? Because obviously he got the name wrong and all that kind of stuff. But that's an interim coach. And again, my concern with that is we're in the same place that we were 3 years ago. And on top of that, because you never know how these interim coaches are going to go, you could argue the season's just been completely written off. There's still time to turn it around and, actually pursue and go somewhere in the Champions League or win an FA Cup. We're not going to win the league, certainly, but at least qualify, play some good football, implement a philosophy to build on next season. There's still time to do that. And my concern is, forget the Carrick bit. But now with this interim coach at the end of the season, we've basically just said, we're going to address it in the summer. That's it, over.
Okay, so I'm listening to what you're saying, and I agree with a lot of stuff you're saying. And I think because there's so much gone on, obviously, in true United View fashion, we've got to take a step back out of being angry. We're all angry. We're all pissed off because of how it's happened. Like I was saying late last night, it didn't feel good, did it? It didn't. Doesn't feel like...
And it doesn't now.
It doesn't. And it doesn't now. Andrew C says, Flex, I'm outraged. Yes, sack Ole, but Carrick in charge as they look for an interim. Pathetic. So no Zidane, then he is available now. So what's going on? I agree with you, Andrew C. Here's the thing, and this is a conversation that I'm going to bring to the table because I think there's no point. We know Solskjaer was going to get sacked. He's been sacked. It's about the forward thinking. We can thank him in a bit. We can talk about how he's left the squad and how much of a good job did he actually do versus regression, all of that. But let's get into it. We know Man United effed up because they didn't make a choice, which is why we're in this situation where somebody like Michael Carrick now has to take the reins, right? That shouldn't have even had to happen. We should have had the man we wanted, right, now. But let me bring this to the forefront. Are we saying then, because if we get, it's a long way the season to go. You can't say to Michael Carrick, take the team until the rest of the season.
No.
He can't. He can't.
No.
That's horrendous. So out of the shit situation that we're in, and I'm not excusing it, I'm just bringing this to the table as a discussion point. Out of the shit situation that we're in, is it not better though to do what they are doing, which is, all right, we cannot give it to Carrick or Fletcher and just say go to the end of the season. We do know we want, let's just say, argument's sake, we do know we really want to attack Erik ten Hag. They've told us we can't get him to the end of the season. There's going to be more pain. We can't fix this right now. We can't. Zidane, as much as we're like, just go and get him, does he really want? It feels off. Yeah, I don't think he wants to come. I really don't. I honestly don't. Rodgers, I had to fall back yesterday. I was emotional. I was emotional. I was in a moment where I'm like, I'm not actually sure about that anymore. I think it actually might be too big for him. I'm not sure. But if they really, really do want Erik ten Hag, if they really, really do want this manager that we don't know, maybe a Pochettino at the end of the season, they're like, we will go and get him. Is it not better to get just somebody who is actually a manager? No offense to Carrick, until the end of the season, because they would know what they're doing. Just in terms of, imagine if it is Ralph Rangnick. So I don't know, but is it not better to do that?
If that was the case, I mean, look, they're obviously Ralph Rangnick. To be honest, you put Rangnick's name out there, he would probably be arguably the one name, or certainly in a select few names that I would go. If that was the interim, I'd go, okay, fine, I will take that.
Yeah,
I would take that. I'm fine with that one. But there is a certain type of manager that takes an interim job to the end of the season.
Yeah, it has to be one who's not thinking long term. Maybe an older manager, or to someone who knows that they're. And another thing is the interim thing, which we do know. Surely, and I say this in inverted commas or quotations, but surely Man United will learn in terms of, if this interim person comes in and does really well, don't just go with that. Have the person. That's my thing now. Have the person.
We are going to get good results.
For the end of the season.
We will get some good results.
Do you think the bounce is definitely going to happen as well?
Well, no, I don't know. I don't know about that. But there's no way we're not going to win games between now and the end of the season. And if we do get a big result against someone, suddenly then what are we going to be saying? Laurent Blanc in, all that kind of stuff. Because again, you'll know that they'll look at that and they'll go, "Oh, I'll tell you what, maybe." And that's my concern. And don't get me wrong, I agree with what you're saying there. And I was saying it last night. I'm advocating some form of, don't be rash. Don't panic. That's what's got you in this situation in the past. That's why we're here where we are now, because there is no plan. My concern is that I almost don't look at this of them going, okay, Carrick, and then an interim to the end of the season. I don't look at this as them being like, oh, we're not going to panic. We're going to try and implement a plan. I still don't trust them to implement a plan. I see this as, we don't know what we're doing. We have no idea who we're going to bring in. And I almost see it a bit as defeatist, to be honest with you, Flex, in the sense of, Zidane, or like I said before, show some ambition. If Erik ten Hag goes, well, I don't really know if I want to leave Ajax, maybe he's not the right man for the job. I want to have a manager that actually wants to manage Manchester United. This job don't come available all the time. It's one of the biggest jobs in the world, and if, like they were saying before about Brendan Rodgers, and again, I'm a bit like you, I've kind of stepped back from that one a little bit. But even if he was like, well, I'd want to see out the season with Leicester, I'd go, fine, you're not the right guy for the job then. Want to manage Manchester
and the biggest
United
problem,
again.
The biggest problem that we've got here, Lil Yo says, who do you want to come and who do you think will come? We'll definitely get into that, Lil Yo, for sure. The biggest problem that we've got, let me put it up. I don't know, you probably know off the top of your head because you're good like that, but the Champions League group standings.
We're on 7, Villarreal on 7, and Atalanta on 4. Young Boys on 3.
Here we go. Right, there you go. Yeah, so we've all played 4. We're joint top with 7 points with Villarreal. Atalanta, yeah, they got 5. 5. Young Boys got 3. So if it goes wrong, if you go to Villarreal and you lose and Atalanta win, 5, so they'll be on 8, and we'll still be on 7. And then we'll be third then in the group, yeah. if we lose. And
That's
then
what I was
you have
saying.
to beat.
You've got to go to
Then you have
Old
to beat
Trafford,
Young Boys
beat
at
Young
home. But then
Boys,
if
and that's
Villarreal,
10
if
points.
Villarreal and Atalanta get a draw and we lost
10
against
points ain't
Villarreal,
enough.
we're out. It's
10
not enough.
points. 10 points is not been like it's never enough when it comes to Champions League qualification.
And you're asking Michael
last
Carrick
year
to go and do that.
Exactly.
And I know new manager bounce, whatever, players just freestyle because there's no pressure, whatever, there's going to go for it. That is a big, big thing, because I tell you what does it mean if this interim manager comes in, no Champions League football straight away? Do you know what I mean? There's still a hell of a long way to go in this season. And my thing is, now it's happened. Like I said, it doesn't feel happy. I'm not celebrating. I'm not like, finally we've got it. It's not that, because I hate to be scared. I know KG tried to bring that energy yesterday, and he'll probably still be saying, no, it's a good thing. Yes, it had to happen. It's one decision that actually should have happened. People argue years ago, that's whatever, months ago, that's different. But weeks ago, as a definite, at least a month ago, at least 4 weeks ago, it should have happened after the Liverpool game. Didn't do it. So we've only made one big decision so far. The second big decision we've made is obviously saying, right, Carrick, you won't be the interim to the rest of the season. That is a good decision, though. That is a good decision. Because, so weird, I'm not in the middle. We have to get this right. I would rather, there's going to be more pain. There has to be, because we don't have a plan. But what are we supposed to do? Imagine if they would have said Carrick until the end of the season. 12 games in.
Yeah.
Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Are you crazy? It's almost not full season, but it's getting to the midway point on its way to. It's still early enough that's a hell of a lot away.
That's my point. It's still time to salvage the season. That's why I'm reluctant just to give up on this season at the moment. That's my only
is what they're doing.
I'm not saying that necessarily an interim manager completely does that, but it goes back to my point. It doesn't show ambition. It doesn't.
Does it show who they really want then? So let's talk.
I think it does.
Let's talk science and kind of putting the equations together, or maths, putting the equations together to see what we get. They don't want to go and get someone now and say, you're the new manager. Tottenham went and said, laters Nuno, you're the new manager. Norwich went, laters Farker, Smith, you're the new manager. Villa did it. Smith, see you later. Gerrard, you're the new manager. Watford did it. Cisco, see you later. Ranieri, you're the new manager. We haven't done that. So that tells you that the person that they want, it tells you two things. Either the person that they really want now, i.e. Eric Ten Hag or Brendan Rodgers, whoever, they feel they can't get them until the end of the season. Or it tells you that they have no clue who they want, and they want to take their time to see what happens at other clubs, what happens in world football, maybe Poch if it doesn't go good at PSG. See if Brendan Rodgers can salvage himself, or put him on trial whilst looking in from afar if he's the right guy. Keep an eye. Do you know what I mean? I think it could be that. I'm not necessarily sold. And this is exactly.
But is that the right? But do you think that's the right route to take as a Manchester United fan? Put it this way: think of it as a board member, and then think of it as a United fan.
As a United fan, you're asking me, is it the right way to go? No, because we know what the right way to go should have been. It should have been like the other 5 clubs showed us.
Exactly.
Clubs with way less ambition than us showed us.
The Conte one is a great example. We heard it before
he
went to Tottenham. Conte, he doesn't like going into clubs mid-season. He doesn't. But guess what? Spurs convinced him. They had a director of football that used to work with at Juventus and sat him down and goes, look, this is the project. This is what we're doing. This is the direction that we're going in.
And someone like Conte,
if we had a structure in place, you could sit Zidane down. You can say, look, I know you don't like coming mid-season. I know you've got reservations, but this is the project. This is the money you're going to get. This is X, Y, Z. And the problem is Zidane, he ain't no fool. He sees what's going on at Manchester United and he goes, I can't trust them. And you can't convince me. Maybe I'll wait till the end of the season. By the end of the season, we're talking about players as well. Paul Pogba, all these people with contracts expiring. What are they thinking? Oh, I've got an interim manager. I have no idea where Manchester United's going to be at the end of the season. It has ripple. It's a ripple effect as well.
Atalanta. So, sorry. Andrew C says, lads, we would still qualify if we lose next game, but young boys, but beat young boys. Atalanta are on 5 points. 5 points win game and draw the next. They would be on 9 points. And we're on 10. Okay, but we still would have to beat them at home. I know you can say, young boys should be easy. look, what we're saying, Andrew, is that it's very close. Fair enough. If the math is mathing, we might scrape out the group, which is the most important thing at this point because we're going to have Carrick for them 2 games. Well, actually, by the time we play Young Boys at home, we'll probably have by then. We'll have the interim in by then. But certainly, I would probably say, I mean, is there going to be an interim person in there by Arsenal?
I mean, it depends. It could be a case of when it says Carrick's going to take the next couple of games, is they think basically it's going to take 7 days. We've already sounded out who this interim is going to be. We just need to get it over the line. It's going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, I think they probably do.
Rangnick, for me, that's the only one I'd be like, okay, I'll take that. Otherwise, I can't think of many.
Jack Lynch says that Man United have only themselves to blame for the mess they're in, 100%. Laurent Blanc till the end of the season, then Zidane or Eric Ten Hag. Thank you, Ollie. Had to go. Yeah, Lawrence, as you said there, Laurent Blanc until the end of the season, and then Zidane or Ten Hag. It'd be weird if Zidane comes halfway through at the end of the season. If that happens, I'll be livid. If we don't get him now, then we went to the summer and then we ended up getting Zidane when he's been sitting there chilling the whole time. That would be a farce in my eyes. Tawara says this proves that John Murtough also must go. Yeah, exactly. SD my ass. And yeah, we're up to date with super chats. I just think I'm just trying to make sense of it all because it's like I'm so bored and tired of saying obviously we had no plan and this is what happens but that is why we're like this. And out of being in a shit situation, I'm trying to work out, are they making, because this is about the next bit now. This is about looking at the decisions that are made now because we can't get this wrong. We cannot get this wrong at all. We can't afford to get it wrong.
Absolutely. But I agree with you, like you just said there. It's if say we did get Zidane in the summer, you would be like, well,
hold on, I think my door just went. Carry on.
Yeah, you'd be like, why didn't you get him? Why didn't you get him when he was still available when the initial sacking happened? It's strange. Super chat from Joe here says, I don't trust the Glazers. Watch how they get Steve Bruce. Well, I was just checking because I see a lot of people saying about Laurent Blanc and all that kind of stuff. So once Flex gets back, I will double check that. Bunny V says, please, everyone, 1K views and not even 200 likes. Yes. Josh will be very angry at us. Smash a like with over 1,000 people watching. Be sure to smash a like. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Yeah, I was just going to check Flex because obviously, because once the official announcement's been made about Solskjaer, I was going to check about these interim, what people are saying. Yeah. A lot of people are saying Laurent Blanc. What's your initial reaction when you hear Laurent Blanc?
It's underwhelming. But it's weird. Yeah, of course, because Kieran McKenna might feel him with assist Michael Carrick. Dan Fletcher will still have hybrid technical. Kieran McKenna and Mike Phelan will assist Michael Carrick. It's the same, bro.
So what's changing? But that's when Mourinho left, isn't it?
No,
that's when Mourinho left.
I'm pissed off now.
And what's to say now? And again, this is my concern. This was my concern as well. What goes to say now? If a Laurent Blanc does come in, or this interim does come in, they're not bringing in their own staff because they're only there to the end of the season. So who's sticking around? Carrick, McKenna, Phelan. And then it's the same as it was under Mourinho in the sense that you just remove the figurehead, but those people, they're still accountable. Those people, I mean, Carrick and McKenna, they've been there for what, like however many years now at this point? 3-4 years. They've been there longer than anyone else. And they've gone through 2 managers. And if this interim comes in, I doubt Laurent Blanc's going to bring in I've got this, I've got 10 people I'm going to bring in as my backroom staff. So what does that mean? These are my worries, Flex. This is why I'm saying, rip the Band-Aid off.
This is bullshit. I'm trying to just stay calm so that we can make constructive conversations about this without just going off. But sometimes you just have to say, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Innit? Like, I knew this would happen.
Switched immediately.
I think going to the door.
Let me play devil's advocate. Answer the door. Sit back down. Mike Phelan, Kieran McKenna. What the fuck is going on?
It was like I just answered my door and Harry Maguire was delivering my parcel.
And he handed you the captain's armband.
I didn't mean the captain's armband. bro. What the F is? Sorry to be swearing on a Sunday morning, peeps. Day
Yeah.
of it's a day of
Apologies.
it's a day of it's a not Christian day. It's a day of host a holy
Day of
day.
rest. Yeah.
Day of rest. Lil Yo-Yo says, ironic that I'm going to the Young Boys game in December, thinking it's a casual game, but now it could be so important. I hope we get a good interim. Lil Yo-Yo, that is not a casual game. You're right. That game, because I don't think we're gonna do well against Villarreal. That game there, my God. Then man's dad says, you all laughed at KG when he mentioned Blanc. He laughed at himself when he mentioned it because he meant flipping the Deschamps. Do you know what I mean?
Line
and
intervention.
let me finish off 100%. John Wixon says, Carrick's experience with the deadliest trio in CR7, Rooney, Tevez in 4-3-3 will help us. Will it? If he does it, is he gonna? What's gonna change? Mick Phelan's probably gonna go. I tell you what, Mike. I know I've had to fall back, and you're the main guy, but just I'll still pick the team, lad. Yeah. And
again,
if Maguire is on
dictator, you know what I mean? Ollie,
exactly,
it's been a collaborative effort.
not at all.
Ollie's been
right.
talking about it's a collaborative.
Do you know what?
Effort.
Hold that point. Hold that. We're coming straight back to that. Exactly. And if Maguire is on the bench from this point forward, I'm Carrick in. That won't happen. That won't happen. Calling it now will defeat Chelsea next week. John, I love the optimism. You never know. Look, listen. When Man United do mad things, when the manager goes, and then it's like the shackles are off. They're all running around playing for each other all over again, which is a disgrace because it was like, where was that before? You know, is that bad? Because now if they do it, now at least with Jose, when Ollie came in, he wasn't the same level as manager of Jose, obviously not. But at least there was a clear difference, a complete, totally different thing going on. Smiles and pats on the bums and saying, "Go on, lad."
And Jose is a bit of a dictator figure. It's Jose.
It was a complete contrast. Now, if the players turn it on now, it'll be an absolute disgrace. If they turn it on now, it'll be an absolute disgrace because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But this is my opinion. There is nothing different, zero difference to having McKenna. You've just taken out one of the parts.
Yeah.
The part that, like you said, which you said, Owen, the part that said, actually, we're all in this together.
Yeah, it's a collaborative effort.
I don't really pull rank with these. So what's going to change? Harry Maguire's still going to be there.
He was the figurehead. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the figurehead, obviously, but everyone knows that McKenna and Carrick are running training sessions. Everyone knows that McPhelan's there for experience, and it's the same.
But do you know why I'm getting more mad? I'm getting more mad because I knew this would be that. I knew it. So if I knew that in my head, I was saying last night, I've just put it to the back, but now I'm starting to remember. And then the announcement comes, and now it's at the front of my head. It's there. And now I'm angry because I'm like, we put ourselves in such a shit position that when we do actually try and make a short-term change, it isn't even that. It's the same thing. It's the same. Owen, it's the same thing.
It's the same. It's the same. It's Groundhog Day. It's not only is it the same thing as it was yesterday, it's the same thing as it was 3 years ago. It's exactly the same. That's the frustrating thing. I'm Bill Murray. Every morning I'm waking up, it's the same day I'm smashing my alarm clock. You know, that's what it is at the moment. And that's, again, going back to the interim thing, that's my worry, because if whatever interim comes in, they're not replacing them. So they're there. It's just another figurehead. And guess who the interim might be? If for instance, Red Devil was there saying, Yap Stam, what's that? It's another ex-Manchester United player, and it's another shield for the board. Another shield for the board. You can't disrespect them. They used to play for the club. What are we doing? What are we doing, Flex? It is Groundhog Day. Every single day. 3 years.
So pissed, man. And this is what I did. And this is why there's a lot of people just really happy that Ollie's gone, and just they would, you know, just buzzing and just finally it's done. And I get it. That was just one of the dominoes that had to fall. But I just knew, I'm like, but hold on a minute. There was no plan. So there's not going to be a new manager ready to come with his whole backroom staff. There's a game in 2 days. You need to give it to Carrick and the boys. And the fact that, again, and again, what pisses me off is if they don't keep McKenna and Phelan there with Carrick to help, actually, what the hell would they do? What? There's not. You can't. You need coaching. You need people to set out the warm up. You need people there. So what do you do? Go to the under 23s.
Imagine the embarrassment of Michael Carrick doing the warm up. The actual the manager doing the warm up with the players.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so now what I'm saying is that with the position, look, it's weird saying this. In the position we're actually in, it's actually the right thing to do, but we shouldn't be in this position. Do you get that?
Yeah. And also,
That's
as well, I
that's
think
why I'm angry.
the reason we're frustrated is because, again, you go, right, I get it. You can't, if you do get rid of everyone right now, who takes over? I get that. The reason we're
There's
angry and
nobody.
frustrated is you can see where it's going. You
Yes.
can see where it's going. You can
And
go,
we could see
okay,
ages ago. And he was
and you
like,
can
didn't
see
sack him. You're going to have to give it to
exactly.
Carrick
You
and
can
that. You're going to have to
see.
give it to McKenna.
Yeah, and you can see that it's not a case of, well, they'll be in for 2 games, someone comes in, they bring their own staff in, bang, bang, bang. It's like,
It's
well,
another half.
what we saw yesterday is the rest of the season. Minimum.
100%. Just quickly, Red Devil Yapstam says, Red Devil 77 says Yapstam is interim. It could be anyone right now. JP 119 says Carrick has been there longer than Ollie. Sit down. Yeah, that's true, but not as a man. Do you mean as in laughing at us, JP 119, or do you mean? I think you do mean it like that. Like stop cussing Carrick, like he's been there longer than Ollie. I don't know. I don't know what you mean. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. But are you saying as in so Carrick will be better? What? I don't know. But big up JP 119 for the contribution and the super chat. And Blue Abadi Abadai says thoughts on Bruno saying it was the players' fault after the match and not just Ollie. 1 step forward, two back. Yeah, when I broke that down, I was pissed when he was doing it. I was standing there, hopefully not caught on camera. I wasn't swearing that, but I was like, nah, Bruno. I said, nah. I was like, don't tell us we can't, like, you know what I mean, voice our frustration. Don't tell us it. But then when I was calming down, he is basically taking responsibility and saying, because I was saying, we all said that they were horrendous yesterday, the players. The players were fucking awful. And he is saying, look, we were actually shit as well. We have been part of this. We have been crap.
Swearing again. Flex, day of rest.
I know, mate. I've lost it. Pablo says, read my last super chat, guys. Having the crab and bowl men running the club, Glazers have no desire to appoint a proper manager. Grateful yes men only. Pablo, I can't find your last super chat. Let me try scroll up. 1 second. Yo, I read that one. There you go.
Right. Yeah.
I'm convinced. Sorry, just quickly. Pablo says, I'm convinced Woodward thought he could ride this out. 100%, Pablo. We have no plan for a new manager. Spin already favouring Fletcher. Key decision will be blagged. There you go. And there's another super chat here, Owen, before you come through with the bit of news I know you got there. PJ Roberts says, Ollie was part of the problem. What's the point of just replacing Ollie but leaving all the coaches who have been poor as well? The players need to show up. Exactly that, PJ. It doesn't make any sense. But again, it's lack of planning. Newham 7 aside says, I told you it was too late. He was just the bulletproof vest. It's me, Saeed from the Tottenham game, the guy with the blue jacket and beard. Oh, yeah, big up, man. How you doing, bro? Yeah, you did say that as well. You did say that. I think a lot of people saw this coming. And Shalil says, so let's get this straight, guys. Who took training will now be in charge. Then why the F have we sacked Ollie and kept the guys? We are finished for F's sake. Exactly. All these training sessions where we're like, what did they do in training? What's going on?
We've had a good week training.
We've had a good week training. Was JP one time was directed at previous super chat. Sorry, talking about Carrick being good. Oh, okay, fair play, JP. 119. Owen.
Fabrizio Romano just tweeted a minute ago and said, Mike Phelan and Kieran McKenna will stay at Manchester United as things stands. And this is the point where I've gone, here we go. After Michael Carrick asked this morning for both of them to help the backroom staff. Manchester United are working to find an interim manager as soon as possible. So they were going to be leaving. And then Carrick went, bro, we need you to stay around for
Who's he going to ring? Who's he going to ring?
Friends FC.
Who's he going to ring?
Who's he going to ring? Friends FC sticks around.
Who's he going to ring? He can't pick. That's the only coaches he knows.
But I
maybe
would
like
rather,
with
that stuff, you know, we talk about, well, under 23 coaches or all this kind of stuff. But I would rather in that situation, because he's going to be there for 2 games. He just like, guys, just help me out for a couple of games. I'm not going to be around for ages. So, you know, whatever. I'd rather
but technically it is that though, really. He's saying, I'm only here until they find an interim. Can you just help me? I don't want to be by myself.
Yeah, that keeps them on. That keeps them on, Flex. And that
but there's nobody else, Owen. And that's what I'm saying, what is pissing me off even more. Out of the awful situation that we're in, we do actually have to do that. Someone said, Fat Four said, O'Shea, Brown, Park, and Patrice, Uncle Pat. Fucking
yeah, well, while you're at it, yeah. Ring Jemba up. Bring him back as well. Cleberson. Let's just get everyone in.
I just can't. People are ringing me now. I'm live. I can't take that call.
It's not like yesterday, is it? You're getting FaceTimes, people are hanging up on you.
Yeah. bro, I've got no. I'm actually broken. I am. But then look, I will as the days come
And you had
come.
a shred of positivity at the beginning of this as well. You've been
Yeah, well,
ground down
it
in the
weren't even
space of
positivity.
30 minutes.
It was just trying to decipher what's really going on versus what isn't, versus what's emotion, versus what's anger, versus what is sense. Do you know what I mean? Because it's important to do it. It's important to do it. I get it. Like, we're all so angry, and I am in that. But I'm like, let's just try though to work through. But it doesn't matter which angle you look at what's going on. The shit show just comes back to the same bit, which is that what a mess.
Oh yeah,
What
it's a
a
circus,
mess.
an absolute circus, and the
Absolute
circus
circus.
continues. And again, like I didn't think, because again we know how this works. I didn't think that we'd get rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and it'd be smooth. We've got someone lined up. Boom, boom. They're going to be in for the
No,
next game.
we knew that.
We
We
knew that
knew that
wasn't going
wouldn't
to
happen.
happen. We knew that was going to happen. But it's this like, oh, Carrick, Phelan, and McKenna. Like last night, it was just Carrick and Fletcher. Now it's Carrick, Phelan, and McKenna, which again is basically Solskjaer without Solskjaer being there. And then it's the interim deal to the end of the season, which there's only, I mean, a real one hand names that I'd be like, okay, I'll take that. But you know, because at least, like, if it was Ralph Ranić and he had Carrick and McKenna there, you'd almost be like, well, he's probably good for them as well. You know what I mean? You'd probably take it. But there are so few names that I look at going,
There's no. Let's hold on, let me get these super chats out. I want to, there's so many. Logan X says they will hire Macheda because he scored an iconic goal as well. Ollie is not a legend in my book anymore. No, I think I will say
harsh.
Logan. Yeah, I look, me personally, whether you rate Ollie as a club hero, a cult hero, a legend, or whatever, his history of what he done as a player, it hasn't. You know what I mean? As a manager, he came and failed, and arguably he's been, not arguably. I know we've got a better squad, but I'm saying he's been our worst manager since Fergie. I think David Moyes. Okay, cool. All right, second worst, but because David Moyes. But I almost not to be disrespectful to David Moyes, but it was so quick and just so wrong. It was like couldn't really. All right, fair enough. Second worst because we didn't win a thing. He had a worse record than all them other coaches who we wanted out.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw
and
that
when we
over
got a
last
decent
night.
squad.
I saw that over last night. A lot of those people going, you know, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, isn't it? Highest consecutive Premier League finishes, Champions League back to back for the first time, etc., etc. And I saw someone say, oh, you know, he beat Pep, he beat Klopp, he beat so and so. But it's almost like on the flip side of that, he lost to Neil Warnock, he lost to Chris Wilder. You know, you can flip that either way, can't you?
And then the biggest one is we didn't win Jack.
Yeah, and they'll go
three semi-finals and a final.
They'll go, or they'd be, you know, record away, unbeaten run, and you'll go, great. But what did we get out of it?
Exactly.
What did we get out of it?
We did an invincible away season.
Yeah. Okay. But what did we get out of it?
Nothing.
Exactly. Mourinho finished 6th and won 3 trophies in a season, if you count the Charity Shield, which he does. But you know what I mean? He has something to show for it.
There you go. Stephen Lee says, how much more arse kicking will fan groups take from the Glazers and Woodward? Riot to get the club back for F's sake, says Stephen Lee. And JS56 says, so it's just going to be the same football with Carrick doing the match interviews? Exactly. I don't see how anything changes. And if it does, like I said, it's disgraceful on the players because it means that basically they're under the same instruction there was under Ollie. Nothing's going to change. John says Carrick wanted McKenna and Phelan back. Bit worried now. I get what you're saying, John. It is worrying, but it's like who else in this time of need was Carrick going to call on? Who can he? It's not like he'd been coaching at Tottenham and stuff like that and got some contact there and tried to bring this person, or when he was at West Ham, he done some coaching, or before he come Man United to coach. Man United under Jose was his third. He retired under Jose and then joined the coaching staff and been there ever since. That's the only experience he has. What's he going to do? Call some of Jose's boys from Roma and say, I'll tell you what, it was all right with you guys. Can you come over? Jose, can you lend us a couple of yours just for a few games? Never going to happen. So I get what you're saying, John. It is worrying, but it was the only way that it could go. Ollie's just a glorified Chicharito, says Logan. Logan's got it in for Ollie. Logan's got it in. And Blue Abadai says Mourinho was the worst. He made the place toxic. It's not all about the trophies. Maybe I'm being a bit over. Fine. I don't know. Maybe the thing about saying Ollie's the worst we've had, it's open for debate in it, but it doesn't matter. Maybe I'll take that back. But I'm just like, I just look at, but it's about the footballing things, isn't it? And yes,
But I
it
would
got
argue
toxic.
on the
But
second.
is it not toxic
second
now?
half.
Is it not toxic now? We got
Yeah, and on
actually.
the
I'm
second
sorry, I'm
half
Blue
of that,
Abidi. Go on.
it is about. Well, the second half of that is about trophies, because if it
It is
wasn't about
about trophies.
trophies, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would still be in a job.
100%. And exactly, it would. And I dare say, even if he would have won the Europa League but still started the season like this, he still would have got sacked. Because what did we say? What did we say when he got given the extension? I said, and you said, we all did. Listen, everyone was going mad saying, how can the club do this? I said, that's fine. Results dictate what it is. They can give him all the backing he wants. The same thing happened with Jose. If the results get shit, you can rip that 3-year contract thing up. Doesn't matter.
Contracts mean nothing.
They mean nothing. They mean absolutely nothing. Aloha says, the Holy Trinity gone wrong. We have in charge. Shalil says, they had a 5-hour meeting to come out with this. Yeah, that is what's happened.
It does make you wonder.
It does. What I was going to say is also this is, think of like the development of the squad that we've got. You know, they're under the same guidance. You've got players like Jadon Sancho trying to see what's going on. Obviously, Varane, Ronaldo, you know, the new players that have come this season. They're going to have to get used to doing the same shit that they've been doing under Oli for another few games. Then they're going to have to get used to an interim manager coming through to the end of the season, get used to whatever he puts down, knowing that at the end of that season, work my ass off to impress him so I can get in the team every week. Then there's going to be another change in the summer. There's going to be another change.
Exactly.
Then,
and that's why I say about players.
Then you're trying to keep hold of
Paul Pogba.
Exactly.
And I don't mean to be like bringing Paul Pogba into it all the time.
No, it's not his fault. But it's a big talking point. It's a part of that. Jesse Lingard obviously going to go. Donny van der Beek, clearly, if you're him now, you're like, I outlasted the manager. I've got to play in this. But then even he thinks what happens in the next few games is not really indicative. And even if there's an interim to the end of the season, Donny could probably say, this guy's not even going to be here at the end of the season if he doesn't play me. Because a new guy could come in, say it's Laurent Blanc, and he might say, I saw that he wasn't playing. Donny, he might do Ollie lies. He might say, I'm going to play you. Don't go anywhere in January. We need our best players. There's a chance. It's a fresh start. You know, I'll be picking this team based on merit, a fresh start. Don't go anywhere. And Donny could go, you know what? Because he has been professional and he is in that position where he probably does want to make it at Man United. Does he stay and listen to a manager who says it's a fresh start for everyone? Prove it. I'll give you a chance. Knowing that at the end of that season, he could either really impress that manager, then a new manager can come in and don't like him, or he could not impress that manager, outlast that interim because he's going to be gone at the end of the season because he's an interim, and then impress the new manager. So it just feeds more and more instability throughout the squad of players who, you know, Martial probably wants to leave. And I know most fans might say good, whatever. But again, it just puts everything on hold. You don't know what we're going to do.
And also, it does raise the question, doesn't it, about, you know, transfer plans and contracts. How do you have that kind of vision when, like you said, you don't know who's going to be in charge come the end of the season or come the beginning of next season? How do you plan those things? How do you, you know, because managers are going to want specific players who are going to make recommendations, certainly when it comes to contracts as well. How do they enforce all of that? They don't. So again, it kind of just breeds more, you know, uncertainty. But again, that's when it goes back on the board, because that's on them. That's absolutely on them. They had this opportunity to make a decision 2 weeks ago. They didn't. Now they're scrambling because they're panicking. I just saw on here when it said about the Watford game yesterday. This comes from Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic. Says Manchester United had no plans to dismiss Solskjaer, but the loss to Watford made clear that the change was needed. So again, we knew that. We knew that. And to be honest, that's why after the game, we were saying, I don't actually think they'll let him go. If anything,
we really didn't.
They have. No,
yeah, because we were saying that. We were saying they didn't let him go with 2 weeks worth of international break. Do you really think they're going to let him go with 2 days to go until we play Villarreal? But it really was that bad. Andy says, I actually realised what the Glazers are going to do. It's going to be like Ted Lasso. They're going to hire an interim NFL coach. Such a joke of a board. Oh, my God. And Blue Abadi says, did you ever see players doing what Bruno did after last night's match with Mourinho? No, you didn't. Fair enough. So basically what you're saying is, you know, I get what you're saying, I'm Blue Abadi. You're saying that, no, Mourinho was toxic and he's your number one as the worst manager. it's about it is. Some people are going to say
there were players on
Ollie,
social
some
media
people
that said thank you to Jose when he left. There were players that I know it's Fellaini, but Fellaini cried when David Moyes left. Every players have their favourites and all that kind of stuff. I mean,
exactly,
that's how it works, isn't it?
Exactly. Another super chat. Oh, here you go. I'm Blue Aberdeen with us. Got it in. Don't compare Ollie and Mourinho when players were turning against each other and Mourinho was throwing players under the bus. Ollie built a great squad with great morals. Just look at Bruno. Okay, I hear what you're saying. But then on the flip side of that, and Blue Aberdeen, is it not toxic now? You've got Jesse Lingard posting up pictures of West Ham. You've got Harry Maguire, trying to
silence critics
and stuff. And you might say that's not because of Ollie. You've got players who are like discontent in the dressing room. You've got players treated like Donny van der Beek. That's toxic. Do you know what I mean? Just in a different way. Just because it's done in smiles and not as rude, it's still not a nice environment to be in. It's done in private. That Manchester United dressing room is not a nice place to be in. We can see that by the cracks and leaks appearing all over the gaff. So it's just the lesser of two evils, in my opinion. Yes, Jose is more of a easier person to dislike because of how he comes across. I've won 3, I'm this, I'm that. But it's because he's won shit. And that's how he is. Ollie's situation is, you say don't ever compare Ollie and think, well, yeah, maybe we shouldn't compare him because Ollie's never won anything. It's a different type of thing. It was toxic under Mourinho. He had to go. Do I rate Ollie for what he did in the interim situation? Yes. Because obviously he got us bouncing, he got us playing. And then ultimately, when he's passed the baton on, which we have always said, whenever the day Ollie leaves, which is now today, on the 21st of November, whenever Ollie leaves, he will leave this squad in a better position than he found it in. That's fact. Mourinho didn't leave it in a better position than he found it in, but he also did win stuff in a transition and then wanted to get back for a further season and didn't get back. So there's it depends how you want to see it. Aloha says, do you think Lingard or Pogba still want to leave? Good question. I think Lingard probably does. But it does, if you are a player like that, you are going to have to sit and think, what's going to go on here then? Because if a new manager comes...
even if they do or don't, that's not going to change in the next week or so under Carrick and McKenna, really, is it?
Exactly. It's true. Exactly.
When it comes to long term, I don't think Pogba, to be honest with you, his mind, I don't think has ever been made up. My concern now is, and I've been saying it since December, that I think Pogba's going to wait till the end of the season. But at the end of the season, there's still going to be tons of uncertainty because that interim manager will come to an end. Will we have already agreed something? Because the only way that the interim manager could work is that come March or April, they say Manchester United, like with Louis van Gaal, where he was managing Holland, and they go, by the end of the tournament, he's going to Manchester United. That's been agreed. And unless something was like that, when it was like, say it was Eric Ten Hag, and they go, Eric Ten Hag, he's agreed a deal with Manchester United. This gets announced in like April or whatever. Yeah. At the end of the season, he's going to be coming in.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Because even when was at City, when Pellegrini was still there, they announced that Pep was going to be coming in like January, didn't they? But they just carried on for the rest of the season. Only problem is it tends to make the wheels fall off. But at least there'll be some kind of continuity there of you could start planning. You could.
I would actually like that. I would
making phone calls.
Yeah, I would like that. February, March, whatever, or March, April, like you said, come out and say that. Do you know what I mean? Come out and say who it's going to be, so we can get some stability and players can know, or maybe tell the players privately or whatever. I don't know, but that when you start doing that, it'll get out. It
and there's only certain managers you can do it with. It's not going to happen with, say, Pochettino. What Pochettino's going to announce in April. I'm leaving PSG at the end of the season to go to Manchester United.
That his club would not allow that to happen. Exactly. Lil Yo-Yo says the postman sent Flex over the edge. Flex, you need some biscuits and hot water to relax. Do you know what? I've got my Maryland cookies down there. I might have some biscuits and hot water after this. I'll tell you that for free. Ragnick for director of football, fix the footballing structure ASAP. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. They've only just put Darren Fletcher and co in there. Victor says, unfortunately, Man United don't want to accept the structure is cooked. If it was me, I would bring in Ragnick to manage for now. And then, bloody hell, this is probably Sky ring. Everyone's ringing. Manage for director of football after that. And Andrew C says, Flex, a bit of a strange one, but I put some blame on Conte. Surely he's in his team. He knew Ollie would come to an end. Why couldn't he have waited instead of rushing to Spurs? Well, look, I think you're only as good as the opportunity that's in front of you. I think when you're not working and you've got a big club in Spurs saying,
And
I
if
know you
he
just don't respect
reached
that
out to
big lads, but
United and they said no, we're sticking with Ollie,
exactly,
you know, his agent was told that Ollie end of the season. What do you expect, realistically? You know, so yeah, I mean, obviously now he's probably sitting there thinking, ah, shit, you know, I could have. that would have been a good opportunity. But again, who's to say that this board would have even taken a contest, crazy as that sounds, because he doesn't fit their structure? He'll push back, you know. Maybe he might have gone in just because they're desperate right now, but it's just hypotheticals, isn't it?
I just don't get it. I don't get it. Andrew C says Flex, bit of a strange one, but I put some. Oh no, I said that one already. And super chat here from Shalil says, by the way, I've seen reports that our club captain went partying after being sent off and threw the armband on the floor. Joke of a player we need to change. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. Hopefully it's not. But you know, obviously players got private lives, and that I know I think it was Harry Maguire's dad's birthday. You know, but you'd keep a low pro if you were going to your dad's birthday, even though you just put in that type of performance. You wanted to be around your family. You would really be in the background and make sure you wasn't, you know what I mean, in videos partying. Just read the room. Let's talk about this squad and the job that Ollie has done now, because I do think it's important. I said it at the beginning of the video. We'll get to this bit. We've had 46 minutes of kind of getting angry and working out what the hell's going on and dissecting, you know, the next steps. But it is important to, I know some people say, why are you wasting your energy with crap manager, was this, that, and the other, but that's just not how I operate. And it's not what we do on United View. Now the door's going again. But has Ollie done a good job?
Has Ollie done a good job? Get ready. Last time Flex went to go to the postman, he came back incredibly angry. So this time he's going to come back even raging. Has Ollie done a good job? Look, these things are subjective. First of all, he obviously, when he came in, there was a lift. He picked the club up when we were in a real bad place, not in terms of on the pitch, but off of it as well. He has assembled a good squad, certainly a squad that we have far more expectancy of at the moment. Certainly, I have no doubts about that. I think that's part of the big frustration this season, isn't it? Is that for the first time, certainly in a while, before the season started, coming into the season, when you have Cristiano Ronaldo, Rafael Varane, Jadon Sancho, Bruno Fernandes, all of these players, I think that a lot of people thought, you know, would we necessarily win the league? No, probably not. But we expected some form of a challenge, and that's what we just didn't have. We didn't have any form of a challenge, and I think that's the real frustration. The standards are just way lower than they should be. As far as him, you know, has he done a good job with these players? This is the thing. We sort of spoke about this last night in the sense that he has obviously left the club in a better place than it was, but it's been, if he was let go a couple of weeks ago, shall we say, you go, yes, the club's in a better place than it was when, you know, then he found it. But over the last couple of weeks, it does feel the same, you know, it feels similar circumstances, doesn't it? Like how it was under Mourinho. And I know, like Blue Abadai was saying earlier, you know, that, oh, you can't compare him. It was toxic, all that kind of stuff. But it does feel kind of similar. But I think if he'd done a really good job, he would still be the manager. So it's difficult to say, you know. I mean, what do you think?
I think you got to just big up the initial bits of the overall squad now that we look at is better with some players, not others. Not
expectancy, honestly, I think is higher.
Yeah, the expectancy is higher because we've got a better squad. But I'll be honest, like I said, I've come to the realization, not just about Ollie, but about some players, that even when a new manager, and I'm telling you, I don't think they'll play. Or if we want to win stuff, big stuff, I don't think they can play. I don't think
is
there's
that
only
what you worry about when it comes to an interim then? Because if an interim comes in, they're not making decisions about letting players go, really, are they? So those players are going to stay.
Not at all. That's what I'm saying, and it's a different conversation, because that's then going on into players and individuals. And do I think this player is good enough? And do I think that today's obviously about the manager and what's going on? And do I think Ollie's done a good job? Essentially, he hasn't done a good job. Essentially, he's been terrible, because this has been our worst record. We haven't won anything. And he's got sacked in horrible circumstances, that in free fall when it was untenable. So technically, no. But when you break it down, You know, bringing Bruno to the football club is a massive plus. Bringing Ronaldo is a massive plus.
Well, let's talk about his signings. Like, if you named his signings, how many of them would you say have actually been like, yes, good?
Right. Well, Harry Maguire was the most expensive one, and just look at that. Look at it. Just look. And he's one that I'm saying I'm really questioning. I'm saying I don't think he's good enough. I just don't think he's good enough. Like, it doesn't matter under which manager. I just don't think he's good enough. Wan-Bissaka, 50 million. He's a winger at Palace, converted into a right back. I think it shows every game now. I love the kid. I like his effort. I like him in one-on-one situations. Is he good enough going forward with the caliber of right backs that we actually need to have? That you can see this out there.
I think there's an argument to be made with Wan-Bissaka, and I've said this before as well, that I think it's a bit of a misnomer that he's really good defensively, good on one-on-ones,
just one-on-ones,
good at recovery tackles. But I always say in recovery tackles, that's because you're out of position, in my opinion.
100%.
The best defenders don't need to be making sliding tackles all the time. So that's two. You know,
so that's two that you're like you spent 80 million and 50 million, yeah, right off the bat, and you're like, wow. Probably not going to be in a title-winning team, in my opinion. Bruno Fernandes, yes. Obviously, yes. Obviously, yes. Cristiano Ronaldo, short-term, 2 years, but yes, obviously. Yes. Dan James has been and gone. Dan James has been and gone. So that's a no. Telles, we don't know.
We don't know. Jury's out, to be honest, isn't it?
The jury's got to be out because if a new manager comes in and says, Luke Shaw, you're just not for me, and goes with Telles, and Telles does amazing. But you have to say jury's out on that one. Donny, you have to say no. We know he's a good player, though, to be fair. So, actually, he's made the squad better by him being in it. He just didn't
Well, realistically, we don't, again, you talk about jury being out, we don't know. We don't know. Because he could have a run of 15, 20 games, and we go, actually, you know what? Maybe he isn't good enough, but we don't know.
Exactly.
That's the whole point.
But he is someone that you look at a new manager coming in and you say, listen, you got Donny there. We know how good he is. You should know. So, Ollie, you've given us that, even if it weren't your signing because you didn't play him. So, technically, you'd have to say no because the way Ollie used him, you have to say it probably wasn't his signing. Why did that not happen?
Has it improved
that's another
United?
One. Has it improved United? You have to say no because he don't bloody play. But it might improve it for the next manager because he's at his disposal. So, kind of a no on that one. Ahmad.
Who knows?
Obviously got injured. It was going to go on loan anyway. You know what I mean? Yeah. They brought him in early, so who knows? That's 40 million. Cavani, short term, you'd say yes, but then
I'd say yes.
Injuries,
certainly last season.
But but you'd say yes, he was good, and we went into this season thinking he's going to be our number one striker before Ronaldo come, and we was like, you know what, we'll go again with Cavani, keep him fit. He was really good, but even he was free. You know what I mean? Who else did we buy?
Palestri.
Doesn't count. NA, innit? It's not applicable. It's not applicable.
But money spent.
So that money actually, it is applicable because he was like 30 million, 20-something million, 25 million. So the overall thing is Bruno, out of all that money, out of 450 odd million quid, we're saying we've got a certified Bruno, a certified Cavani, who was free, and a certified Ronaldo, who was about 30 million.
Oh, Varane as well. Forgot Varane.
Oh my God. My signing. How can I forget my guy? Bloody always injured though, isn't he? He's injured all the time. I forgot. Varane, yes. And even when Varane came in, obviously he was still playing shit. Like he couldn't even just
immediately
sort out everything.
You can see.
But you could see he was calm and just So Varane and Bruno certified, like spent money straight in. Ronaldo's kind of like a wow, I can't believe that happened sort of thing. But he's definitely improved the squad. Yeah. He has. He will get there because
if he plays,
if he plays? Because look, yesterday he was brilliant in the second half, absolutely brilliant. And I put it down to Donny though. Donny was finding him in little spaces. Sancho was getting on the turn, taking players on. There was one time he was on the right wing. I think he just cut in. I was like, "Where are you going? You got two players there." He went straight past him, crossed it to the other side. Great ball for Ronaldo. He showed what he can do. Igalo, been and gone, temporary. That actually was a good for what he was brought in to do. Though he actually was good. He actually was. That's probably Ollie's best signing.
I won't forget the goal against Lask. Unbelievable goal.
Oh, what's a goal? That was just before lockdown. Was how me and Josh were sitting in
Yeah.
there, and we were like, "Fucking hell, what a goal!"
You could hear
Pablo
you on the
says,
telly, couldn't you?
"Yeah."
You could hear you. Go on, United. People turn around like.
They were looking at us like, why are we letting these guys in? Ain't been back since.
Yeah.
Don't think I'll ever be allowed in there ever again. Guys, United run like the government, spin incompetence, which is in fact cash skimming. Jose, for all his issues, was up front. Ollie track record lies, never sounded like a manager, and brought in staff who only achieved relegation. And Blue Abadai won't be happy with you saying that. Robadam says, get Roberto Di Matteo, proven Champions League winner. Imagine. Where is Di Matteo now? Does he even manage anymore?
I don't know. He went to a couple of clubs, didn't he? Didn't do well afterwards.
Yeah. And Blue Abadai says, what the F you guys talking about? Do you remember when Wan-Bissaka got a red card and we had to play Dallo? Yeah. What? I don't know what you mean. I don't know if he was arguing with someone and then got angry. Prasanth says, Flex, the question is, how did we go from being on a steady course of improvement until the end of last season to this? What changed? Wasn't the manager. I think the question is actually since you asked that question, maybe the question is, were we on an upwards trajectory?
Yeah,
I was in the camp saying we was. I hold my hands up.
Yeah, I was as well, because on paper it was difficult to argue with. Certainly, it was difficult to argue with.
Blue Abadai says, don't let your emotions cloud your thoughts. This is not the same as a toxicity when we had Mourinho. No, it's a different type of toxicity. But the club's a mess. It's a toxic environment. Maybe not all down to Ollie, but down to the results and down to the running of the club. I agree with you there. It's not, like I said, they're two different characters. Mourinho is more toxic as an individual, 100%. I agree with you there. But it's much of a muchness, mate. The club's is in a shit heap. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not really trying to give the end points to this person of the most toxic trophy. It doesn't matter. AKA says, you're also at fault for letting Woodward off. Far too soft. As in me? Like me? Did you have I let do you mean that with me, or do you mean Man United fans, or are you I don't know, maybe it's like a rival fan saying all of United's also to blame because Woodward, I don't know. Or do you mean me personally? Bit unfair. I'm always saying about Woodward. What was I gonna say? I forgot what I was going to say.
There's a couple of other things here that have just come out in the last couple of minutes. So there was one about succession plan. So this comes from Samuel Luckhurst for the Manchester Evening News. Says Manchester United had no succession plan in place for Solskjaer and had given no consideration to sacking him prior to the loss to Liverpool 4 weeks ago. So again, proves what we already knew. He also went on to say Man United are confident Solskjaer's permanent successor will have a strong foundation to build on. That's fair. I think there are players there, right? We say that them as well. This is the one. There are no plans to modify the current Manchester United structure with the appointments of John Murtough as football director and Darren Fletcher as technical director. United believe their presence will minimize disruption during the period of transition. What the F does that even mean? What does that even mean?
Read that again.
There are no plans to modify the current Manchester United structure with the appointments of John Murtough as football director and Darren Fletcher as technical director. United believe their presence will minimise disruption during the period of transition. It means
then that they think they're
there. We're the guiding hands. We're the guiding hands that can steady the ship and make sure nothing falls into chaos when we're trying to find a new manager. It's already in chaos. Oh. Don't worry, John Murtough's there.
Owen's been set off.
Got it.
Owen's been set off.
Well, you see these things. I've just been perpetually in a rage, Flex, for the last 2 weeks. Just, and again, we talk about toxicity. Here's one. Mark Ogden from ESPN says several key Manchester United players had become exasperated by Solskjaer and his coach's abilities to make the team better, with one source saying the players regarded the training as, quote, too British and unsuited to the requirements of modern game at the elite level. And we go back to toxicity. If you've got players exasperated reportedly by the coaches because they don't believe in their training methods, that's a toxic environment in itself, isn't it? I don't believe what the coach is telling me to do is right.
And Blue Abadai is on this point of, Ollie's done amazing and Wan-Bissaka's brilliant. My point is to you guys, don't downplay the impact Wan-Bissaka has had on the squad. Just look at how we play when he's not available. And Cavani has been class as well. Just because we might play worse when he's not available, that doesn't mean that he's the best person for the job. there's a lot of flaws in his game. A lot of flaws in his game that I don't think he's going to be able to correct. Like when
I'd rather have Wan-Bissaka than Dalot at right back, but doesn't necessarily mean that I think he's an elite level right back fit for Manchester United. You could make an argument that neither of them are, or certainly, like you said, a manager, if they came in, might look at Wan-Bissaka and go, no, I want more out of my right backs in that.
There's a lot of managers you'd rather have over Ollie because Ollie's not as good as a lot of managers, but it doesn't mean they're right for Man United. Do you know what I mean? Nick Nat says, no succession plan, 22 seasons starts early equals a mess.
But it doesn't. That's the thing. It doesn't, because we're going to go to the end of the season in this period of uncertainty with an interim that won't be there next season. And by the way, shouldn't be there that next season, because we shouldn't be going down the same route like we did before of an interim. Oh, they do well, sign them up to a contract. But the problem is that who's this interim going to be?
I'm with KG on the Wan-Bissaka, by the way. I thought so. Listen, I like the kid, but sometimes you just have to say what you see, mate. You just have to say what you see. Like you said, we are better with him than without instead of Dalot, but the way we play, the way we want to kick on, eventually you're going to look at that area and say,
well, this is an interesting one, Flex. This comes from Sky Sports. It says, Cristiano Ronaldo is keen for current Spain boss Luis Enrique to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Sky Sports News has been told.
Last crazy, isn't it? About who Ronaldo wants and stuff like that. Opinions of the players of who they would want to manage them, and it's just, and it's going to be crazy. How much weight do
you think it carries?
I think they'd listen. But they'd probably go, "Nah, Ronnie, thanks for that, but we're going to get Ten Hag at the end of the season, or we're going to go for Pochettino." I don't think they'll go, Ronnie's really onto something here.
You go up to him and goes, "Look, I'm telling you, I've got some people. They've spoken to Luis Enrique, and they go, don't worry. Laurent Blanc's coming in to the end of the season. Calm down." He'd be like, he could do what he did at Juventus. He'd go, okay, and just go to his locker, start unpacking it.
It's crazy. It really is. It really is. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, we got the full view later, guys. We got the full view later where everyone's going to have their say. But I just feel like it feels worse. It feels not worse because he's gone, because he had to go, but now it's all unfolding of the reality of what it means, and their incompetency has been brought to the forefront, which we knew was there, but was just always being masked by Ollie. Don't get it twisted. Ollie was the fall guy in this, because he was kept in it way longer than he should have. Lost his job, rightly so. But he's the fall guy. Do you know what I mean? And now he's gone. They're in the light. They're all in the light. We can see it all your incompetent decisions, all your failed reactions or lack of reactions to make the right decisions. It's all there now, 100%. And as Josh said in the comments, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, guys. Over nearly 2,500 people watching live. Smash a like on the video, and subscribe in the bottom right hand corner if you're new to the channel. I think it's very fair to say that the journey from here on out is going to be something very God knows what's going to happen, but I mean, we were kind of finishing off there about did Ollie do a good job, what signings actually worked and stuff like that. Maybe that's a whole separate video in general, but I just he's passed the baton on, and left it in a better position. I think you could say that he's left it in a better position. He definitely has done that, which is why we wanted to change, because it's like, just give this squad to somebody who can make something happen with this, who we know can make something happen, and I'm sure we'll see an upturn. Do you know what I mean? Fish on the bike is not a £50 million player. Which other top club in Europe does he get into? Squad's too big and full of midfield players.
But I was just going to say there, but like you mentioned about handing on the baton and to someone that can do something with the squad. That flies in the face of an interim, doesn't it? Because arguably at the end of the season, this might be a different squad because players might be leaving. That's the succession plan we're living with. Yeah,
there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. It's been incredible. It's not even been 24 hours. It's not even been 24 hours. I was going to say it's been incredible last 24 hours. We're about last 12 hours. But a little bit longer. But we'll have to see what happens. We've got an interim to sort out. Carrick press conference duties tomorrow. There you go. Exactly. That's going to be very, very interesting. In the wake of the Villarreal game, we'll all be glued for that. So we'll have live reaction to that as well. Wow. Where do we? What a turnaround! Hey, who? Well, I was going to say who saw it coming. We all saw it coming, but there you go. Karen took the kids says, "Throw Ollie to the wolves. Keep all these crap staff and write off the season." Not only that, I have a feeling we're now waiting for a preferred manager to take the post in the future. This is Man United, for F's sake. Yeah, as in they don't even know who to get. They're just going to try and work on it now. You know, guys, thanks for watching. We'll be back again this evening. And we'll see you all again soon. If you're just joining us, like we said, Ollie's been sacked. Carrick is going to take care of the forthcoming games. And an interim is going to be put in place until the end of the season. We will see what that looks like and who it's going to be, because we have no idea. I have no idea. We are out of here, guys. Take care. Peace.